right, everybody, how's it going? We're back with another Bringing the Word. We're here with Pastor Paul L. Starks of Greater Love Reformed Baptist Church out in Carson, California. How's it going, Pastor Paul?
Doing well, doing well.
All right, and right now we're tackling the issue, this is going to be a short Bringing the Word, but we're tackling the essential versus non-essential issues of the church. We're going to do one where we're just going to name out the non-essentials, and then we'll do another naming the essentials. And let's just go ahead and jump right in. Pastor Paul, is eschatology, our understanding of eschatology, the end, how the Bible describes the end, an essential or a non-essential?
I would say it is a non-essential. Do you want to comment on it or go over just kind of?
Well,
yeah, I think it's a non-essential. I think some people have a view of whether it's premillennial or amillennial, rapture, non-rapture. And so I would say that it definitely is a non-essential. It doesn't have anything to do with the person's salvation if you believe in the rapture, don't believe in the rapture. And I think some people get tied up in that idea, for sure.
And one thing what we wanted to point out, we're not dealing with those other the other items. We're just dealing with the essentials of salvation.
Yes.
And the next one I have, church government structure.
Church government structure, it would be a non-essential. There are different church government structures, but it has nothing to do with salvation. Some people have a tied deeply into their church government. You'll meet some people who will say, well, you need to have a presbyteral type of government, or you need to have a Episcopal style government, or a congregational government. And all those things are interesting, but they're not fundamental to the essentials of the faith.
Communion.
Communion, some people have a different view of communion. Some people think the bread is the actual body of Christ. Some people say it is symbolical. Some people, I think the Lutherans have the transubstantiation, I'm not sure the word, but whatever it is. They have that view.
Transubstantiation.
Substantiation, got it. And so the Catholics have the view that it takes on the actual changing of the body to the body of Christ.
Isn't that cannibalism? Well, we'll deal with that in another day.
They have that view of it. I think it is, but that's another story. And as Baptists, we see it more as a symbolical view. And then Calvin and Zwingli also had different views of how they saw communion too. But I would say it's a non-essential.
Day of worship or Sunday Sabbath?
Day of worship would be, some Christians actually believe in worshiping on Saturday. Some believe on Sunday, and I think that's a non-essential.
All right. Speaking in tongues or spiritual gifts, essential or non-essential?
That is a non-essential. Some Christians believe that the spiritual gifts are still alive and well, and some believers don't believe that the spiritual gifts are alive and well. And we're not necessarily saying the actual gifts, but we're saying the gifts are. Specifically, we're speaking of tongues and the gifts of whether or not there's a spiritual gift or where revelation is still being given in the church.
Music, using instruments. Some churches believe it's essential, some believe non-essential. What is it essential or non-essential?
Music, I would definitely say, is a non-essential. You do have some churches, such as the Church of Christ, who don't believe that you should have instrumental music. Although I did have a Church of Christ friend who thought it was okay to use acoustic guitars, which is odd. I mean, I don't know the difference whether you acoustic guitars or electric guitars, what that would mean, but I think it's a non-essential thing. And then there's other Christians who believe that that's truly an essential thing that a person must have. But no, music is non-essential.
Old Earth, New Earth views, as far as the age of the Earth.
Yes.
Is that an essential or a non-essential issue?
A non-essential issue. That's another issue where some believers believe that the Earth is billions of years old, and they don't think that the Earth is young, and as some young Earth Christians believe the Earth is less than 10,000 years old. There are some very prominent pastors and theologians who do believe that the Earth is less than 10,000 years old, and there are some who don't believe that at all. So there's billions.
And here's the ones that make people fight. Reformed versus non-reformed theologies, essential or non-essential?
That, I believe, personally is a non-essential. Now, there are some people who will argue and fight over that aspect of that whole concept of reformed and non-reformed. And I believe that it truly is a non-essential in terms of that, which would probably lead us to the view of our view of salvation.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Paul. You knocked out a lot of the biggies, and the main thing what we're trying to get at is when the gospel, the good news is given, these are non-essential items that have nothing to do with the gospel per se, because the gospel presentation was already given in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 through 4, and these things were not mentioned. Therefore, everything else outside of it, minus a few items by default, depending on how the gospel is presented, are pretty much non-essential. We're not discussing, say, the Trinity, the nature and person of Jesus Christ. We're not discussing that. We're just saying these items that are non-essential. Those items that I just mentioned, the belief of who God has revealed himself to be, things like that, those are essential. But generally those don't come up during a direct gospel conversation.
Yeah, because we're talking about basic orthodoxy.
Basic orthodoxy, that's right.
Yes.
All right, Pastor Paul, thank you very much for your input. We'll be back with you with another Bringing the Word pretty soon. Thank you very much.